Finally, we have a president who actually is doing things. I mean, last 4 years, I feel like we went through a wormhole. I'm like, look over here, and you're like, what? You look over there, you're like, what? What is going on? Everything's upside down. Mercedes hit it right on the nose. That Satan wants you to live in fear. Nothing he said in what he just presented to us is scary things. As a matter of fact, there's been a couple places that I've been iffy on as far as the Social Security goes. He's not touching it. As a matter of fact, he wants to take it and make it so that we are not taxed on our Social Security. So he's going to continue to take care of our elderly. He is also taking care of our children. He is taking care of the widow. These are things that God has asked us to do throughout history. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, no matter what faith you follow, except for the Church of Satan, do you see they all ask you to take care of your fatherless, which is our children, and the widow, the person who has, or widower, and you take care of them. And you get jobs, and he's keeping jobs. He's putting America first, just like they do in Japan. I can't stress this enough. In Japan, they put their people first. It's not that hard to do. And it's not selfish. Okay. In my life, I've always felt selfish if I didn't think of other people. But then you're always hearing the advice. If you're not strong and you don't take care of your first, how are you going to help yourself first? And you're not strong and you're not feeding yourself, you're not taking care of yourself right. How the hell are you going to be there 100% of the time, 100% for your children or for another person? If you're constantly putting them first. Proverbial, if I have a garden and my neighbor has a garden and I'm constantly over there feeding their garden, what's going to happen to my garden when it's not fed and watered? It's going to shrivel up and die. Common sense. If we don't take care of America first, we have no ability to take care of other nations. So we need to feed and water our people first, our nation first. And that's what President Trump is doing. I don't care what all these socialist Marxists are saying at this point. Seeing what I see there. I'm to be in this world and live in this world, but not of this world. This means I'm going to witness what's going on in the world. And I'm going to try to, I am a Christian. I look at things with truth and honesty. Instead of having my light shine in the darkness, my light will shine into the darkness. We are the light of the world. We're shining into the darkness. We're not in the darkness shining outward. And I do have that video that I want to do with Bishop Sparks about that saying, be a light shining in the darkness. Now we want to shine into the darkness. We want to illuminate and make sure we're showing you the truth, instead of being in the darkness and trying to shine our light outwardly, because that's not going to happen, because darkness eventually snuffs our light out that way. But if we are strong and we're working on our light and we're keeping our vibration on high and we're radiating outwardly instead of trying to radiate inwardly, and we're radiating that light outwardly, that is your light shining into the darkness. Peace starts within the human heart. Every human being has to come to inner peace and love. It's not how much you are loved by others. Look at God. How many people don't like God? But he still loves everybody else. He still loves them. Whether they say no to him or not, he still loves them. Jesus. The majority of people living today would have been in that Roman arena saying, crucify him. Crucify him, even though he did nothing wrong. Thomas was a doubter. And I think it was Peter that denied him 3 times. And they walked with him. The majority of people are not going to like you. Get over it. Change your reaction to it. Accept it. It's okay. It's okay for somebody else not to like you. Believe that or not. Wow, why am I saying that? It's okay if people don't agree with you. Oh my God. You mean somebody doesn't agree with me? You mean somebody's not seeing what I'm seeing? God opens hearts and closes them. It's all under God's control. He hardens hearts or he unhardens hearts. It's not for us to even judge. It's okay. It will be okay. Our lights are how much we love others, not how much others love us. Inner peace starts within. It's a strength, and it radiates outwardly into your home, and then into your community, and then into your state, in your world, in your country, in your world. It starts inside. It starts at home. You cannot help other people if you are not strong yourself. On a mass scale, this is what the model of what Trump is doing for the behaviors, the modeling. You saw what happens when you put yourself first. Last 4 years is primary example of putting self over other people. It's primary example of putting yourself above other people and mattering, and trying to get other people to like you and love you. Trying to get outside peace. Doesn't work if you're trying to grab for it outside of yourself. It doesn't work if you're trying to grab for all this outside of yourself. It's not going to work, and you're going to be very unhappy walking through life. I can't change it. Trump is the president of the United States for the next 4 years. You need to accept it. Embrace it. Learn from it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of having to possibly look at views outside of your own self. He's putting the country first. He's putting our children first. He's putting our women first. You know, he doesn't sound like such a big, bad, evil, misogynistic guy when he's sitting there praising these women for their work. His own wife is not American. She is American, okay, let's put it that way. She is, but she is not. She's got a thick accent. She's from another country. She's beautiful. I enjoyed seeing them together with their family. I did like what I heard from Trump. Trump addressed after a week. Flabbergasted. We didn't have to wait for a State of the Union address. I don't know how often those things happen, but it's like sitting on eggshells waiting for things like that. Trump told us exactly what was going on just now in this meeting. I hope he does more like this, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or maybe once a month even. So that we're not waiting for the State of the Union address. Because, I mean, he's been talking for an hour. Now, I talk like that. He's not a big, bad, scary man, and he's not putting big, bad, scary plans in place. The blinders are off to all you left people. The blinders came off the American people. Why do you think most of the states were red in the election? The blinders were off. They just didn't want to tell these people that were in power they were off, because they didn't want them to weaponize anything against them. They were censoring speech. You couldn't talk. Hush, hush. That's what happens, overseas. Is that what you want? You want to be so afraid of speaking your mind that somebody's going to come in and take you out of your house? Is that what you really want? Now, the one thing I didn't understand he addressed in his speech is the law about birthright citizens. He said that law was made for when we had slavery to make sure these children were considered United States citizens, these children of African Americans. Wow, woke. Everybody should be woke. Well, the true woke movement would want that in place for that purpose. It was never designed, he said, for the average immigrant today to come over and claim birthright citizenship. So I'm going to look into that more, and I'm going to speak with Archbishop Chase about that. He's the one that I spoke to about woke, and that I've been wanting on here too, to speak about the true woke movement as opposed to this fake fascist, not fascist, but this fake socialist, Marxist agenda, communist agenda that's been going on in the past 4 years. You don't like being called a communist, stop acting like one. Because that's what we had in the guys they umbrellaed themselves in the Democratic Party. I'm not going to ease up on this next 4 years. We got common sense back. You know, just this week alone, I'm feeling a little bit safer in my home. I'm feeling a little bit safer that I can speak out and speak my views. I said yesterday, your ideologies and your ideas and your views are different than mine. He goes, no, they're not ideologies. They're not opinion. They're not opinion. Your opinion and my opinion are differing. Your ideology and my ideology is differing. What you're seeing and what I'm seeing are two different things. Get over it. Your truth is not my truth. And it never will be. We all have a story, our own story. Even if you're born into the same family as siblings, when you go out into the world, your story becomes your story, and my story becomes my story. It's opinion, it's perspective. It's the way I view things, it's the way you view things. It's ideologies, it's what's been put into our brains and programmed into us. It's how illuminated our lights are. And I'm not talking about illuminated as far as the Illuminati. I'm talking about vibration and frequency of the world of life. I'm talking about the human cell generating energy and creating the light to radiate out into the world, which is a lot of times the darkness. When your light is in the darkness, radiating outwardly, it's going to be snuffed out real quick. But when you have a light inside you that you keep nurturing and loving and growing, and it starts radiating out of you, it's a whole different game. The darkness is not going to be able to snuff that out as long as you feed that light. As long as you feed the light, it's going to strengthen, and that source for that light is in the heart. You're not God, but we're all part of a bigger plan in the family of God. We were all meant to be a family of God, created by Him and for Him, through Him, and to glorify Him. We were not made to be broken families. We were not made to be broken. We're made in the image and likeness of God, the ultimate creator. We're designed to create a family for Him and to love one another as we love ourselves. First, to love God no matter what, because He is the ultimate creator. And if you don't love your creator, how good are you? How good are you? Your light will be snuffed out because you're not feeding it the proper things. If you come from the creator and that light source, you need to feed it with that light source. You need to feed your light and become strengthened by it, and it glorifies that light. And with that light, it glorifies that light. And maybe humans, when we put a gender on God and a being, like a body like we have onto God, because we're limited beings, maybe that's a disservice to humanity. Maybe you should think of God as light, as the light source, without gender. Without gender. Because He doesn't have a gender. We say he, she, because that's what we know in our brains. We're limited. But when we really reach out to that light source and pull and draw and ask that light source, no matter how we do it, to come into us and radiate outwardly, we are radiating the source of all living. When you try to manifest your own light and be your own thing and radiate it outwardly and out of the dark, then that's when you got problems. So our frequency and our vibrations have to be in coherence with that light source that created all human beings and all life, all matter. And there are frequencies and vibrations that do that. I mean, there's a frequency and vibration that, it's called therapy, that supposedly will alter a cancer cell and kill it. And if that's true, if those studies come out and that's true, then there's no need to use drugs that poison our life, poison our bodies, poison ourselves. Because we're using frequency and vibration that we are all part of as energy. We are all energy in motion, all connected. And when one of you breaks off and splinters off, we're fractured as a people. Nations need to come together and start being cohesive and start really understanding that it's through our own perception and through our own programming and through what we witness personally in our lives, that is what our truth is. So your truth is not going to be my truth. Everybody has a story. Some of us have very dark stories. Some of us have great stories. Some of us have heroic stories. Some of us have... But they're all ours. Our experiences, our perceptions, our thoughts, our dreams, they're all ours. That's what makes us special and unique as a people. The way we love others, who we love, you know, that is ours. And that's what makes us such a beautiful group of persons. Those differences in us. And then maybe add your ethnicity and what you look like. After all that. Because all the other stuff is what makes the human person a human person. The color of our skin, the country we come from, you know, we got to be careful. Those are important, don't get me wrong. But they're not as important as the stuff I just mentioned about our experiences, how much we love others and love life, how much we're loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, how much our light is radiating, and how much our cells are being in the frequency and vibration of that of our Creator. And then think about how beautiful it is to have different races and different colors of skin, and how awesome is our God to actually make such a diverse group of persons beautifully, just like He did the flowers of the field. We have poppies, we have daisies, we have roses, we have chrysanthemums, we have cacti. We have different plants in the rainforest. A rainforest plant is going to be different than a plant that's up in the tundra, you know, the frozen tundra. It's not going to be a pine tree. But they're both just as beautiful, right? Yeah? Pine tree and a palm tree are two different things in two different areas, in two different locations in the world. We don't discriminate. They're both beautiful because they give us oxygen. They're both equally important. Some of our trees down south give us fruit, like bananas, oranges. They produce fruit. We got pine cones and sap from trees up north. Vermont syrup is so good. So good. And that's what I'm talking about as far as diversity goes, as far as life goes. Our human lives are just the same thing to God. And should be to us. With no bias on the geographical location they come from, because we're all going to look different depending on what location we come from. We're all going to talk differently with different accents. I kept calling Mercedes Marcedes, and it's Mercedes. We all have those things about us, and that's what makes us unique as people and beautiful. Every single one of us. Trump's only trying to keep that alive in us. As far as I'm concerned, so far, I've seen him taking care of our children, taking care of our elderly, taking care of our inner city youth, and being concerned about them, and trying to take care of ourselves before we can even help somebody else. And you all are putting him down and bashing him. Whether you agree with his ideology or not, give the man a chance. He's still a man. I gave Harris a chance. She blew it with me. The way she speaks and the way Trump speaks. And last term, Trump did every single thing, or started every single thing, like the wall, he promised in his first campaign. He did. Biden and Harris, I heard in one of these inner things for, I think it was the it was the California wildfire speaking to Trump, that the last administration made a promise to them that they did not keep. Trump keeps his promises. I wish you all well, and God bless you all. Have a great day and an even brighter tomorrow. And remember, it's not how much you are loved by others. It's not what others do and say to you. It's how much you love others and how you react to what's being done.